It's that time of year again, 6 months down, 6 months to go, and I filled up every last page in my current Bujo, which means it's time for me to set up a brand new bullet journal. I'm moving from the B5 vegan leather olive branch notebook that I designed for Archer and Olive into my vegan leather sunset notebook from the same collaboration. Unfortunately, these notebooks were limited edition and are no longer available. They do have a lot of other beautiful designs though, so if you need a new notebook and you end up buying one from Archer and Olive, you can always use my affiliate code PBB10 to get 10% off your order and to support me at the same time. I'm starting with a fold-out spread on the inner cover, as I've done countless times. I just love squeezing in a couple extra spreads and having the option of a flip-out spread that can be referenced no matter where I am in my notebook. I decided to keep things super simple on these initial spreads because I am so ridiculously busy right now with things in my offline life, and I just needed to get this done. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. So I decided to go monochromatic with this setup, black and white, and very minimalist. I'm naming this bullet journal as I have for quite a few bullet journals at this point, originally inspired by my friend Caitlin from Caitlin's Corner, and this time I'm naming my bullet journal Alias, which is a Latin name meaning sun, which felt appropriate for my sunset journal. I think my favorite thing about this theme is that there are endless ways to vary it from spread to spread just by using different combinations of lines in different placements so that the spreads don't feel too repetitive while still being completely cohesive and very quick to pull together. I'm using my lamp black gouache from Winsor & Newton with a flat brush that's approximately the size that I want my lines to be, which really helps me to stay consistent from one spread to the next on the size of the lines without having to be too precious about it. I'm also using a black acrylograph with the finer 0.7mm nib for the lettering. All of the supplies I'm using in this setup will be listed in the description box as always, so check that out if you're looking for something specific. If I'm missing anything, let me know in a comment, and as always, I'll do my best to add it. You could of course do this in another monochromatic color if you wanted to, or even a combination of different colors to create your own custom color palette. I like to dedicate this flip out page to my grid spacing spread, where I write out how many spaces there are in my notebook, both vertically and horizontally, as well as some common divisions like halves and thirds, so it's easier for me to create spreads moving forward without having to count every space every time. I can easily find the absolute center of a page or do some quick math to split a spread into an even number of sections. Of course, you don't have to use this prime real estate for a grid spacing spread if you don't use one, or if you just don't use one very often. I'd recommend, if you're going to try this yourself, to put whatever spread you find yourself flipping back to reference the most in this space so that it's something you can just pop out and have accessible without having to constantly flip away from whatever spread you're actively using, like your weekly or daily spread. I'd love to know which spread that is for you in the comments down below. Are you like me, where the grid spacing spread is the perfect choice for this flip out page, or is there something else that you use more often, like a year at a glance, or a future log, or an ideal day spread? I want to know. Today's video is kindly sponsored by Audible. I've been a big fan of Audible for years. They have an incredible selection of audiobooks across every genre you could want, from bestsellers and new releases to celebrity memoirs, mysteries and thrillers, and so much more. Discover exclusive Audible originals that you can't find anywhere else. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases. If you're not on the audiobook train already, I highly encourage you to jump on. Audiobooks are an amazing way to read way more in your day-to-day life, despite your busy schedule. Now, all Audible members also get access to the Plus catalog, a growing selection of audiobooks, Audible originals, podcasts, and more included with membership that you can listen to as much as you want. The Plus catalog adds so much value to your Audible membership, giving members a chance to discover new favorites and new formats, like the exclusive Words and Music series. The Audible app makes it super easy to listen anytime, anywhere, while traveling, working out, doing chores, or even filming a video. I decided to start a brand new audiobook while setting up my bullet journal, She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is a fantasy historical fiction retelling of Mulan in an alternate China in 1345 with a sapphic romance subplot. So far, I'm absolutely loving it and hanging on the narrator's every word. I can't wait to find out what happens next. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/plantbased or text plantbased to 500-500 to try Audible free for 30 days. Thank you so much to Audible for sponsoring this video. Moving on to my future log here, and for this spread I'm using my mini calendar stickers, which are available for digital download from my shop. I only have my 2022 set on hand because I haven't had time to design the 2023 stickers yet, so once I get those done, I'm going to stick those on top. So the top row will be from July to December 2022, and the bottom row will be from January to June 2023, but I wanted to show you what the spread would look like, and I had a set just sitting there that otherwise would have been recycled, so I popped these stickers in so you could see what the spread would look like when it was finished. The future log is a must for future planning past the current month, perfect for appointments, important dates, birthdays, travel plans, events, and so much more. Moving on to my Kanban board, this is how I stay on top of creating content for YouTube. I've split my video production workflow into 10 steps, and I create a little sticky card for each video I'm working on and move it from section to section as I complete different steps of the workflow. As I've mentioned before, this is less necessary if I'm working on just one video at a time, but when I have a longer term project like the reading challenges I've been doing recently that take me several weeks to film and edit, or if I'm just making a lot of videos at once like during Plantmas every year, this spread becomes indispensable. Next up is my waiting on, want, need, and gifted spread. This is what I use for keeping a wish list for any potential shopping, as well as tracking any online purchases to make sure that I don't forget about anything and I can follow up if something doesn't arrive. It's also a place to track anything I get as PR, any gifted items, so I remember to post about them. For my waiting on spread, I just write a really basic description of the item or items and where they're coming from, and then I'll just pop down an estimated delivery date based on whatever the shop says when I'm checking out. And this just helps me to realize when an item is maybe a couple weeks late so that I can check the tracking number or follow up with the shop so I can figure out what's going on. When a package is delivered, I cross it off and then I just write whatever date it was actually delivered. This just helps in future to get a better idea of actual delivery times versus estimated delivery times from different shops, especially right now when everything is a little wonky when it comes to shipping. Moving on to my master to-do lists for both work and personal. I like to have these for things that occur to me that I want to do at some point, but that don't have a specific deadline, or I might not have time for them this week or this month or maybe even this quarter, but I don't want to forget to do them in the future. Things like hiring a virtual assistant, which I've wanted to do for years and still haven't done. Or on the personal side of things, finally signing up for health insurance, since I don't get any from my employer because I'm my own employer and I haven't signed up yet. We've arrived at the final two spreads of this setup, my period tracker and my date night spread. My date night spread is super simple. Along the left, I write out date ideas, and similar to how I use my rolling weekly, I write out the remainder of the months of the year, so July through December, and when we do one of those dates, I cross them off, indicating which month it happened. This is a great way to track good ideas and to help me with planning a date, and then it also is great for remembering these nights to look back and sort of jog my memory for the fun times. It's also great to kind of take the pulse of how we're doing as far as taking time for date nights, which is why I track which month these dates happen, because this way I can notice if maybe we went on 3 dates one month and then didn't go on any dates at all the next month. We don't have any set schedule for dates, so I like to have a way to look back and see how we're doing, and just a gentle reminder to maybe pick it up and make time for more dates if we've sort of been slowing down. I'm sure all of you can relate who are in long-term relationships. Sometimes life gets busy and you realize you haven't gone on a date for a while because you see each other every day anyway. So I love this spread. For my period tracker, I list each month of the year and add dots down in a column, the number of dots corresponding to the number of days in that month. I love the bird's eye view of the data for this to be able to see patterns much more easily. This will alert me if something is really off so that I can talk to my healthcare provider and catch things early. I personally track the days that I'm menstruating, ovulation days, as well as a handful of symptoms that I want to stay on top of. There's so many options here. You can use different colors for different things or different symbols, and just make yourself a little key to remember what each color or symbol means while you get used to using a spread. And that brings us to the end of this setup, so I'll show you a flip through of the whole thing. I have to admit I was a bit nervous to do such a minimalist and bold theme, but I actually really like how it turned out. I love the simplicity, and I had a lot of fun trying to come up with different ways to incorporate these lines in each spread so that each one would still look unique. It was kind of a fun creative challenge. If you liked this bold black and white spread, leave a black emoji in the comments down below. This was probably the fastest new bullet journal setup that I've ever done, so I highly recommend something along these lines, no pun intended, to anyone who is really busy and struggles with doing something a little more complicated that just takes too much time, but still wants to add some sort of design element to their bullet journal. Thank you again to Audible for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to visit audible.com/plantbased or text plantbased to 500 500 to try Audible free for 30 days. Thank you to my patrons for your support. I want to take a second to shout out our newest squad members: Adriana, Alex, Colette, Jane, Jem, Caitlin, Nina, Shaya, and Stephanie. If you at home want to join the squad, feel free. There's a link in the card and in the description box down below. And with that, I'm going to get going. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends.